I think there is an interesting frenzy happening in the big AI players world. OpenAI, Google, Gemini, Claude, Anthropic, all these Grok, these players are having a sort of a frenzy, feeding frenzy, if I may call it, going on. A good example is Windsurf. We all know what happened to Windsurf, right? OpenAI was negotiating with them, and there was a certain period, a timeline as it was passed. Google came and took this to the main CEO, and the second hand, right hand guy was acquired. And today, first it was like the negotiation, then second, the conversation was what's Windsurf. And then the third was how, like, this manipulation or whatever, this quick decision of how Google took on, which was a kind of a praise or whatever for Google for some time. And then now there's a bit of backlash going on. Did Google do the right thing? Did the founder and the right hand guy do the right thing by abandoning their team, Windsurf, right? Windsurf did a last minute deal with somebody else and they were managed to narrowly escape. Now the Windsurf CEO is getting a lot of heat as to why he did this, right? So what does this all tell us? It tells us that there is a massive feeding frenzy going on in the big tech AI world. Why is that? Quite interesting. I don't know why they are like doing it in such a rush. I'm sure if they can come to some sort of a table, and you're talking about a handful of guys, right? If they can have some sort of a discussion at a table, then I'm sure they can come to some sort of arrangement. But instead of doing that, they are like doing this backbiting kind of, crazy, model going on, which is fine. I think what is happening is that core, if you look at the core, the AI LLM core, the inference core, is getting saturated to a certain extent, and there is so much limited growth which can happen in that. And these big tech companies have passed that, right? Okay, now we have ChatGPT 3, 4, 5. Okay, tomorrow AGI. Like, what's next, right? I think next is going to be this layer which is going to be built on top of it, and that is where this feeding frenzy is happening. So people are looking for these companies which is going to add this layer to the core. These can be coding platforms, vibe coding, things like that. These can be tools. These can be sort of different devices which connects to this core. I think that is what is happening right now, and that is why this feeding frenzy is happening. So whoever who has built up startups around this AI and who has amassed subscriptions behind their models are getting quickly grabbed by these big tech companies, right? And they want to create their little domain names, and there's a bit of fight going on. It's interesting to see how this whole thing will pan out and where the next focus is going to be. My gut feeling says that it's going to be with data, not big data. I would say it's more strategic data, right? That's going to be the next frenzy. Feeding frenzy is going to happen there. So the companies who are sitting on big amount of data right now, who we already know who they are, like Google, uh, Instagram, Facebook, all these guys, WhatsApp, they are all sitting on data. Now, this is like crazy valuable data, because people are using it on a day-to-day basis, their eye movements, their fingers, how it moves, their attention span. So I think that's going to be the next feeding frenzy, right? So apart from these big tech companies, there are other small companies who are sitting on this data, right? 1,000 million users, right? I think that's going to be the next feeding frenzy. Let's see. It's quite interesting to see how this all is going to pan out. So at a certain point, it will calm down. Once you go through these stages, at a certain point, people are trying to create this little dominions, little power struggle going on. I don't know how long it will take, maybe a year or so. By that time, it will calm down, and you will have a more formalized structure coming in. But I think everybody's trying to do the same thing, if you ask me. And I hope that there is some sort of a um, organization, uniformity, or some sort of a structure which comes in soon. Thank you.